So first of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this important session on environmental innovation, especially in light of the Houthi attempt to prevent us from gathering here today. So thank you all for coming. Yeah. And today we'll explore Tel Aviv University's newly established School of the Environment and hear from some of our most exceptional researchers in this vital field. I would like to invite Professor Mark Steif, Rector of Tel Aviv University, to extend his welcome greetings.
Hello, everybody. I don't want to forget to say anything, so I just wrote a couple of notes. So good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to welcome you at Tel Aviv University. I know it hasn't been easy to come. Many have had to find original solutions for reaching Israel at this time. We're here for the Symposium on Environmental Studies, and this is a topic that is very close to our hearts, and one that we've been deeply committed to for quite some time. In fact, environmental studies take place in every one of our 9 faculties, in medicine, engineering, exact sciences, social sciences, of course, and arts and humanities, everywhere. And this is a very important aspect of our research activity. By the way, this is also, one cannot talk about environment without mentioning a very important name in the philanthropic support of Tel Aviv University. This is the Shirley Temple and her family, and Linda, who is here. No, Shirley Porter and her family, of course. Okay, you caught me. There's a slip of the tongue. That's how I refer to. We can thank Shirley Temple too, but for different things. Shirley Porter and her family and their daughter Linda, who is here with us, who's been supporting the university for many years and will be and is still supporting in a very important part of our community. So thank you, Linda. Now, as proud as we are of the many things happening at Tel Aviv University in this field, I'll be honest, until recently, it's been a bit of a patchwork. Lots of good work, but not always well connected. And that is something that we've set out to change. And this is the reason for establishing this new School of Environmental Studies here at Tel Aviv University. The idea is to bring together all our environmental efforts under one roof: research, teaching, outreach, and create something with real synergy and impact. We want this school to be the hub that turns out many individual strengths into a powerful collective force. Now, the founding head of this school is Professor Noga Kornfeld-Shor, whom you will be hearing from today. And I also want to share some big news. Noga has been elected to replace me as the next rector of Tel Aviv University as of October 2025, this coming October. This is still pending the approval of the Senate, but I have a feeling that this will be approved. So it is also a great chance to wish her all the best in this new role. I have no doubt that she'll be fantastic, and that under her leadership, the field of environmental studies will certainly flourish, and we will here at Tel Aviv University and across Israel, and she will be able to rise it. With her, it will rise to the place that it deserves in our university, in our community in general. So thank you for being part of this, and I wish us a stimulating and productive symposium here today. Thank you.
Little bit of a height difference. Thank you, Professor Steif. And I would now like to invite Professor Noga Kornfeld-Shor, head of the new School of Environment Studies at Tel Aviv University.
it's a demand to be high when you're a rector. Tall, sorry. So I'm really excited to be here. It is my great pleasure to introduce you to NES, the new environmental school at Tel Aviv University, at the Porter building. We are standing on the shoulders of giants. Shirley Porter and the Porter family did a great work, a visionary work, promoting the environmental studies. And we are hoping to continue and fulfill their vision at the new school. Just a year ago, this was merely an idea, and today it is becoming a reality, and I'm really excited about it. I believe I don't have to explain to you why we need to focus on the environment. The environmental crisis is no longer a future scenario. It is here, and we feel it daily. Floods, fires, droughts, extreme weather conditions, pollution, habitat degradation are already impacting nature, our well-being, food systems, economic stability, and even international relations. During the past 4 years, I had the privilege of serving as the chief scientist of the Ministry for Environmental Protection. There, I witnessed firsthand how deeply the environmental crisis is involved in every aspect of our life. Without an urgent science and knowledge-based and coordinated actions, these impacts will only get worsened. I think this is the most pressing challenge of our time, and this is why I decided to accept Ariel Porat's offer to promote this field at Tel Aviv University as the chair of the new environmental school. Our vision is to harness academic knowledge for addressing these challenges. We will stand at the forefront of research and education in Israel and globally. We will promote and cultivate pioneering research and empower the next generations of scientists, change makers, to advance a more sustainable and just world rooted in scientific rigor, creative thinking, and the spirit of collaboration. We want our graduates, to be equipped with system-level thinking, interdisciplinary mindset, analytical depth, and to be impact-driven. They will become researchers, entrepreneurs, policy leaders, and executives motivated not only by curiosity or a professional ambition, but by a desire to shape a more sustainable and just world. NES is a university-wide and interdisciplinary school. To succeed, we needed participation from across the academic spectrum. And I'm really proud to say that over 120 affiliated professors from all faculties have already joined us. Let's meet a few of them. Our first speaker is Professor Yoni Bellmaker, a marine biologist, the chair of the School of Zoology. Yoni, please tell us about your work.
Good morning. Today I'm going to talk about the ocean. Let's wait for the presentation to start. Okay, today I'm going to talk about the ocean. Now, the ocean is critical for human health, okay? The ocean plays a major role in climate regulation. It absorbs heat, it captures carbon. It provides 200 million tons of protein, nature-based protein, to humans. It also has a numerous amount of medical products yet to be discovered that can help humans. But today I'm going to talk about the Mediterranean. Sorry there. The Mediterranean, right here on the beach of Tel Aviv, is one of the most interesting places in the world because it's one of the fastest changing. So the Mediterranean, the Eastern Mediterranean particularly, is a hotspot of global change. It's already very warm. If you go to the beach in the summer, you know that the water is very, very warm. But not only that, also one of the fastest warming places in the world. It's a warming at a rate of about 0.7 degrees Celsius per decade. Again, one of the fastest in the world. In addition, it's a hotspot of biological invasions. So species have been moving from the Red Sea via the man-made Suez Canal into the Mediterranean. And if you look at the typical catch of a trawl over here, you can see that there are more invasive species than native species already now. Okay, so it's a serious environmental threat. And I'll give a few examples. This is a striped catfish. It's a venomous species. It's nocturnal, luckily, so we don't see it when you go to the beach. But it's super abundant, and it clogs the nets of fishermen and doesn't allow them to reach the more lucrative commercial species. A different example is this seascape in the ocean of the Mediterranean. As you can see, it looks pretty barren. There's not too much there. There's almost nothing growing on the rock. This is because two invasive species, rabbitfish, have entered the Mediterranean and are super grazers, and they eat everything, not leaving enough food for the local species. Okay? And the third major problem we're having here is fishing. So we know the catch has been going down through time in Israel because of fishing. And we know it's fishing, nothing else, because when we look within reserves, we have more biomass of things like these groupers that are commercial species than outside the reserves. So fishing is another major threat. And all these things are happening together in the same spot. So we're having fishing and invasion and climate change happening very fast over here. And what we learn about these threats in Israel is going to have global implications, because these things are going to reach other places in the world later on. So people are looking at us to understand what's going to happen. I'll give you a few examples of approaches we're using in our lab to understand these things. So you might think fish are silent, not making any noise because they live in the ocean, but actually they're very, very vocal, some species. So what we're doing is putting microphones in the water to try to understand which species are there, assess their diversity, and assess their response to change. We're also doing something else and following fish directly. So we're catching fish, we implant a tag in their tummy and let them go. And then we follow them through time with a system of microphones in the water. And we're trying to understand the response to things as heat waves and invasive species. We're also using AI to understand and predict the identity of future invasives. And the idea is that we're trying to target and see which the invasive right when they enter the Mediterranean, because then it's easy to manage them. Once they're already spread and very abundant, it's almost impossible to eradicate invasive species. And we're also using eye ecology. Eye ecology is all the data that's already out there on the web. So you might go to the beach and take a picture of a fish, on the shore and put it on Facebook, or a fisherman might take a picture of its catch and put it on Instagram. And you're trying to collect all this data from already available sources to track real-time changes across the whole Mediterranean. So what have we learned so far? So I'll just give you a few examples. One example is with traditional diving. So we dove all these places in the Mediterranean trying to collect data on the abundance of fish species. And I'm reminding you that there's a very strong temperature gradient across the Mediterranean, and we're also looking at areas that are more protected and less protected. And trying to understand the effect of warming, invasion, and protection from fishing. And what we see is that the diversity of fish, the amount of different types of fish, is mostly influenced by protection. So protected areas have more types of fish than unprotected areas, and warming and invasive have relatively little effect. But we looked at the biomass, okay, the amount of fish that actually are in the water, we see that it's mostly impacted by warming. So when there's more warming, we have smaller fish, we have smaller species, and fewer individuals, okay? So we can see that different types of ecosystem responses are affected by different types of stressors. We also have unexpected results. So I'm reminding you that we also tracked fish through time using this acoustic telemetry with the tags in the tummy, right? So we tracked these parrotfish. We looked at their activities, how active they are. These are diurnal species, so we can see they're active during the day and they sleep during the night, okay? It's very boring. We tracked these fish for several years and they didn't do anything. And we were sure this is kind of a wasted, we thought they're just boring species. But then a storm arrived, and what we saw is that these fish responded very uniquely. So during the day, they were still active, but about 10 days before the storm, they started being awake at night and active during the nighttime. It basically showed patterns of stress, of insomnia, okay? What's interesting is this happened 10 days before the storm. Now, typically, we get a weather forecast of a warning of a storm about 48 hours, 36 hours before the storm. And these fish started responding 10 days before the storm, much prior to anything any human could actually guess. So these might serve as some kind of sentinels for extreme weather events. So to put it all together, it seems like the Israeli Mediterranean is a global hotspot of change, and there are a lot of things happening here really, really fast. Fast warming, many invasives, a lot of fishing, and we're trying to understand how these things act together, and understanding how they act here is going to have global implications, because people are looking at us to understand how we cope with these problems, to understand how they should respond in a few years when these problems are going to reach their shores. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoni. So as we learned from Yoni, our effect on the ocean is influencing climate, food availability, health, well-being, and more. Such complex problems demand innovative system thinking approaches. The One Health approach is an integrated, unifying approach that aims to sustainably optimize the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. Professor Uri Obolsky from the medical school is taking such an approach in his studies. Uri, please.
Hi. So like Noga said, can I start? Yeah, like Noga said, the One Health approach recognizes that if we want to optimize human health, we also need to take into account the environment. We also need to take into account the environment. And this means we need to take into account climate change, deforestation, animal ecology, animal disease, etc. And it fosters an interdisciplinary approach between various fields of science. And I'll try to show you how I take part in it. Specifically, some of my research pertains to mosquito-borne diseases. These are diseases that are essentially transmitted by mosquitoes. You can't hear me? Sorry. Is it better? Sorry. So you may know some of these diseases. Zika has been infamous since 2016, since the outbreak. Malaria, everyone here probably heard about malaria, one of the major mosquito-borne diseases. West Nile virus, that's the only mosquito-borne disease that is common in Israel, that's endemic to Israel. And dengue, some of you may have heard about dengue, but it's much more common than people usually think. Around 50 to 100 million people are affected by dengue each year. And you can see the geographic spread of it basically all across the world. And how does that relate to the environment? Specifically, mosquitoes are highly affected by meteorological conditions, by the weather. We can see here estimates from laboratory experiments where they took mosquitoes, they changed their temperature where they live, and they estimated their lifespan, their biting rate, their transmission probability of various diseases, the rate of the position of egg laying, etc. And everything changes with temperature. Moreover, mosquitoes need still water, or basically puddles, to reproduce. They lay their eggs as part of their life cycle in puddles. So you can imagine that these puddles are highly affected by moisture, temperature, rainfall, etc. So what I do in my research is I take this information, this ecological information, this biological information estimated by various scientists, and I combine it together to create a mathematical model that creates a statistical index that essentially helps us to quantify the potential of transmission of diseases across time and space. So we create software packages, freely available, that users can input the climate data, temperature, humidity, rainfall, etc. And we give them an estimate of what would be the risk of transmission of various mosquito-borne diseases. So for example, this is a map of Brazil. As you can see, there's the leftmost plot. You can see there's a gradient from south to north of increase of risk of transmission. Or also we can look at the other map here where we color each part of the map by the month that is the riskiest in terms of dengue transmission. So we can say in a certain region, June would be the riskiest month, and in other places maybe it would be March. And these estimates are hard to get by surveilling Brazil because it's expensive, it's costly, and it's very complex. We do some similar work with West Nile virus. So in Israel, we estimated there are 2 different seasons, potential seasons of West Nile virus transmission across Israel, this red and black curves. And in Portugal, we estimated that the south of Portugal is much more susceptible to West Nile virus than the north of Portugal. And we also showed that there has been a steady increase over the last 40 years of the potential for West Nile virus transmission in Portugal due to climate change. So what we do, I hope I convinced you, is an interdisciplinary approach that combines computational approaches, mathematics, statistics, computer science, with data from ecology and biomedical estimates to optimize human health. Thank you.
Thank you, Uri. So as Yoni and Uri showed, the environmental crisis is a complex crisis that can be described as a wicked problem It has multiple causes and that are interconnected. Solving wicked problems demand new ways of thinking that embrace complexity and interconnectedness rather than trying to solve each problem in isolation. Our next speaker offers such a solution. Please welcome Professor Iftach Yacobi from the School of Plant Sciences and Food Security.
Good morning, all of you. Professor, I'm a farmer's son. So all what I'm going to show you is the farmer thinking, and I apologize in advance. So the title of the main thing that I want you to take after my lecture is that energy and protein security are two sides of the same green coin, literally green, microalgae, something like 10 micrometers, and I hope that I will be able to convince you. So something like 20 years ago, some lazy kid like myself came to his dad and told me, look, there is no mammoth left, we have nothing to hunt, so let's start growing our food, and that's what we have been doing for the last 20,000 years. And agriculture provides us food security. And my question is, why are we still behave like the Flintstone family and we are still hunting our energy? Why we do not grow it? So photosynthesis is the powerhouse of energy production. I don't know if you're aware of that, but yearly we are burning 1 million years of photosynthesis that produce all the fossil fuel. So each year we burn 1 million years of photosynthesis. Why not using it now? The photosynthesis is active now at all the places on Earth. If we are looking at some green pond out there in your yard or somewhere, and it looks like this, and then you can take a closer look with a microscope, you will see the beauty of microalgae floating there. And they do this amazing process of taking water, carbon dioxide, and producing all the sugars and the food that we have on Earth. Microalgae can do something else. Unlike the big water, the higher plant, they can also produce hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most clean energy source on the planet if we produce it in a green way, and burning it pollute only one kind of pollution, which is water vapor. So the idea is to put the farming thinking and not the industrial thinking on what we are doing. And farming say, if we have something, we have to sell all what we can from it. If we are growing microalgae, we can use them as a biomass, as edible. I'm sure that many of you know spirulina or taste it, and if not, you are welcome to do it. And simultaneously, it produces hydrogen that we can power electrical bicycles and scooters that are powered by hydrogen. The engine is electric, but hydrogen is the energy source. You can buy them now. Per day, what we achieve now in the lab, and I'm going to show you, that 20 kilograms of biomass, which can feed 200 people, feed meaning they give the protein, all the amount of protein that is needed to 200 people, can produce 1 kilogram of hydrogen per day. It's quite low for industry, but if we are taking this hydrogen for scooters or bicycles, we can power 100 scooters and bicycles driving 20 kilometers. So it can be a great solution for city and small places. What we achieved so far in nature, hydrogen production takes place only for 30 seconds or 1 minute. We studied it, we understand the mechanism, but we found out that a single mutant allows us to produce hydrogen for days. And that's the main achievement that we achieved, not me, my postdoc, Tamar Elman, who is a amazing researcher. And we started with 5 ml, and we envisioned something like that, hectares of pipes producing food. That's taking place today in Kibbutz Gan Shmuel, what you see here, but we want also that it will produce hydrogen simultaneously. So we are here now in this pipe. Using the university resource, we build different kinds of pipes to check what is the best condition for producing hydrogen, and it's ongoing project that we are doing now. The beauty of that the remainder biomass following the hydrogen production keep a profile of a superfood because it contains 50% of protein. Do you get it? Soy is like 15%. Poultry is even 36%. But in microalgae, it's 50%, and it also contains all the vitamins, like vitamin A, vitamin B12, which are important. So what next? The next is to do what we have done 20,000 years ago, to isolate new tasty strain of microalgae. Taste, that's the whole point. And we developed a mutation way to mutate them so we can screen for prolonged hydrogen producing. So we have robots to do it, and we are getting more and more research for doing this project. And thank you for your time and for your listening.
Thank you, Iftach. This was hope-inspiring. So solving wicked problems also requires a deep understanding of all stakeholders involved. Unexpected connections, interdisciplinary approaches, and true solutions that leave no one behind. Let's hear from Dr. Architect Fatina Abrik-Zubidat, the head of the Space in Transition Laboratory. Fatina, please.
So hello, everyone. Over the past decades, approximately 25 million people are displaced annually due to floods and droughts caused by climate change. Projection estimates 140 million internal climate migrants by 2050. Moreover, wars and armed conflicts worsen environmental damage. Destruction of the built environment and infrastructure generates millions of tons of debris. Natural and man-made crises are disturbing ecosystems, depleting resources, and straining food production. By 2050, 60% more food production will be needed. This is the time, just as it has always been, for architecture and urban planning to actively address the crises by innovating infrastructure for refugees and rural migrants, promoting rehabilitation. Architecture should develop new spatial tools of care for both human and other than human species. So together with the team in the lab, Spaces in Transition, we involve an in-depth investigation into refugee camps, humanitarianism, disease, and infrastructures related to food insecurity. Let's explore some emphasis of how architecture has historically addressed the complexities of environmental and food solutions for migrants, contributing to sustainable living for all in this earth. Since the 1970s, architects such as Buckminster Fuller, John McHale, and McHarg called for planetary design solutions based on ecological principles with the aim to make the total world's resources serve 100% of humanity. They diagrammed the flow of energy in the natural world as input and output, a cybernetic ecosystem in which a new biologically theory informed for sheltering the unsettled population. Another example is the six-stallion architecture, which shows design integrated food production and waste minimization within the built environment. Part of these examples include plant-based architecture using puffed rice to provide food in emergency times and increase biodiversity by offering food to insects and birds. Our lab learns from these nature-positive practices and bio-based materials, but take the research step forward by prioritizing ecological and social values through requiring multidisciplinary collaboration that informed by experiences of what we call kinship relationship in the Global South. The fact that there has never been a famine in which all segments of the population suffered equally, and the role that architecture should play to establish a socially just world are central to our work in this lab. So in order to imagine a different future, we turn our gaze towards valleys and waters, for example, such as Wadi Gaza, to address food as another means to achieve peace. The Wadi offers us to engage in building the common beyond geopolitical and national borders divisions. Wadi Gaza is one among 16 streams that are transboundary in nature, originating in Hebron in the West Bank, flowing through Israel by crossing the Green Line in Be'er Sheva, and discharging into the Mediterranean Sea to the west through Gaza. So by its connection with the Mediterranean Sea, Wadi Ghazi could form the new cross-cultural human and other than human specialities for conceiving future shared histories around food, where science is also the science of the off-grid communities, refugees and Bedouins who live in this earth, familiar with its soil and its water. Part of the team focused on the other than human, such as research on special engineering of food of livestock. The urban-rural inequalities cannot be separated from our understanding of planning of cow sheds, poultry houses, sheep pens, feed mills, and the various infrastructures for transportation, storage, and distribution that shape our economy today. Others are focused on women as a key environmental agent and managing resources in camps and rural areas in arid and semi-arid regions in the global south. As, for example, developing for now, it's what is called gendering the food security. So transition moments, therefore, required radical thinking and responsible action to environments of mobility. To coexist in this earth and to build a better world, we can influence this transition moment by combining long-term ancestral perspectives with transformative innovation and active stance against further and unsustainable practices. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fatina. Our next speaker is Professor Marcelo Sternberg. Marcelo is a plant ecologist studying ecology of climate change. But today, he won't present his scientific work, but his work pushing the university towards walking the talk. Marcelo, please.
Thank you very much. I'm really very pleased to be here this morning with you to show you a journey that started during the Corona period, COVID-19, that in November 2020, I approached Ariel for a meeting. We didn't know each other, and I told him what we are doing as a campus, as a university, for changing the conditions and our carbon footprint, our ecological footprint as university, as institution. And he's a lawyer. He didn't know much about climate change, but he contacted me with the director manager for construction and maintenance at the time, and we started to work together. We first started with a very strong argument, and that was the meaning that was a good team to start working with. And the reasons are quite obvious. Despite Trump, our world is increasing temperature at a rate that has no precedent in the history of human mind. So we know that we are, last year was the warmest on record, the precedent year was even warmer, and we're having a rate of increase of temperature that is going on and on. And here we have, as university, we have the opportunity not only to find solutions through research, as presented Iftach this morning, but also by teaching our students how to lead for a change, but also to showing the public that's coming, the students, the staff, and us as a university to show the path of the change. And our mission is to develop a plan for the next decade to reduce the greenhouse emissions that we produce in our daily activities from how we work here. And I hope next month we will introduce this plan in fact. And this building this plant, I said we started in 2020 for the first meeting, takes time to build something strong. And but we know that we have no time, and we decided to take the no-regret approach. That means that everything that we will do for reducing our carbon footprint will have a positive effect. And we started by mapping all the university's activities that they are actually producing greenhouse gases. And we identified that the energy consumption of the university was the first and the strongest impact that have in the carbon greenhouse emissions. And the university make a major investment that now in 80 years from now, all the energy that we're going to produce, the electricity that we're going to consume in the university, we're coming from renewable sources. So the university make a major investment on on the construction of a big solar plant in the south of Israel, and we are planning to put solar panels on every roof that is possible to get green energy the consumption. By building this, we also build different committees that relate to what we consume in the cafeterias, what the constructions, we identify that the commuting to the university has a very high carbon footprint. So we build here 6 different committees with more than 40 volunteers from students, academic staff, administrative staff, that we're part of this community and try to reduce our ecological footprint. And this is quite unique for any university in Israel. We are the first university in Israel that have this type of total global plan of reducing our carbon footprint. And we have many projects on the way, and we started for reusing all the furniture that people are building a new lab. They don't know what to do the tables with the computers, and reusing stuff. That's the most carbon footprint friendly stuff to reuse, recycling, increasing recycling in the university, looking for new technologies that will give us a reduction in our carbon footprint, recycling, commuting and safe transportation, looking for possibly of carpool, to share cars that people arrive here to the university every day and reduce our carbon footprint. We are one person. We are one person, but our actions can affect many. So we invite you to continue to support our activities in campus for a better future for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcelo, and I'm proud to be a part of a university that is going to be carbon neutral by 2032. So another key issue in promoting sustainability is cross-sector collaboration, and I'm very happy to invite Jeff Hart, the Executive Chair of the Climate Solution Prize, to talk about solving the climate crisis, the importance of innovation, combining philanthropy, financial investment, and global cooperation. Jeff, please.
Boker Tov. So nice to see you. You know, every time somebody comes, starts a presentation, they apologize for how hard it is to get here from Tel Aviv University. And I say many of our grandparents had it much more difficult by boat with a transit in Cyprus. So, Emirates through Dubai wasn't so bad. And when I asked Taha what they wanted me to speak about, they said, you should speak about 5 minutes. And they gave me this topic. So here we go. So I'm just going to define the problem, then talk about what we look at solutions. Now, we've seen lots of devastation in the Middle East. Anybody want to guess where this photo is taken from? Okay, this is 2 summers ago, Libya, 5,000 dead in a weekend, right? So 5,000 dead in a weekend. Anybody see many protests around the world? But the devastation that's happened across the world. We've seen all the terrible photos. This is actually from Canada also, heat records, fires. We've had many again in Israel. And if we really project into the future, what could happen? Because as humans, we live in the present. And we say, yeah, it was a bit hotter last year. Yeah, it was a bit hotter last year. But when you look at that, this is what happens in 50 years, right? And so no matter what the people in this room, I guess you're all interested in the topic, but if you're interested in health, education, anything that you're interested in, poverty, this is a baseline which affects it all. And so really should be part of anybody's activities and philanthropic giving, because if we don't fix this, everything else is impacted. And that's why it's become my top priority, as well as other topics, but it's the baseline that we all have to really consider if we're long-sighted, which the Jewish people, I believe, are. So, very briefly, most people, actually, if they did the biggest global survey, and 72% of people believe we should move off fossil fuels. But the challenge, like many things, is that what people want and what people do are 2 different things. Just like weight loss, smoking, everybody knows it's unhealthy to be 10, 20, 50 pounds overweight. I was at the Houston airport. Let me tell you, it's a lot of folks that are overweight. But Ozempic has actually had a huge impact, right? Technology innovation because people have difficulty changing behavior. But with this technology, sorry, with their personal behavior, but with technology, huge impact on obesity in the US. And the same thing with certain devices for stopping smoking. So the basic idea is that we could try to tell people why they have to change their behavior. That's very hard. And so our basic thesis that I'm involved in is that, just like the university is a great innovator, what we really need is innovation to replace how we work in general, transform industries so the change is much less painful versus trying to get people to change their behavior and protest, hey, you're stopping me from eating my French fries, right? When you take the Ozempic, they become less nice. And just to go back in time, back in the early 1900s, we had something called the manure crisis, right? Horses and transport was filling up the cities, and there was all kinds of diseases. But of course, you can imagine what's going on in these streets with all these horses happening, right? And they had committees how to solve this problem, right? And all of a sudden, without any regulation, this innovation came, and it replaced the problem in 10 years, right? Without any regulation. Innovation transformed the industry and solved this crisis that we had. And that's the kind of idea of what we're looking for across the board. This guy, I think he was a doctor now, right? And we actually brought him to Montreal 15 years ago, and he said this, that fossil fuels are analog, renewables are digital. And Israel is a digital country, is it not? This is the innovators. We make digital transformation and can become the leading edge of what's required to really, hopefully, do literal tikkun olam. And this is the power of solar. So many years ago when he came, it was more expensive. And today, we're not building many coal plants anymore globally, not because people and governments have said, oh, it's a bad idea. It's because it's way less effective as an energy source. So that's where we have to invest, in technology that will replace industries. Definitely regulation is important. We want to have as much to help move things forward, but we need innovation. That's what we could do proactively, not waiting for governments. So just very briefly, come some sectors. There's major companies on the investment side that have huge divisions in investing in the technology to move it forward. There's ones that are called impact investing. Bill Gates is behind Breakthrough Energy. They spend billions in the area. They've actually had some good returns, but the main focus isn't necessarily short-term returns, right? And then there's a lot of philanthropies. I'm involved in the Climate Solution Prize. We give away money for breakthrough investment in Israel. We also do it in Canada. And the idea is that we have a multiplier effect on our investments. And I'm also part of a Jewish Climate Trust, getting big Jewish philanthropists to invest together to have more impact together. So there's multiple ways folks in this audience, right, can get involved either through philanthropy impact or investment impact, and that's going to have one of the biggest transformations and hopefully have a great return for you and your kids. And finally, got to talk about Israel because we're here, the startup nation. And one of my heroes, Ben-Gurion, of course, you've all seen this quote many times, I'm sure. But Israel has an expertise at solving existential problems, right? If you were here in the 1940s, the idea that Israel would be, exporting agriculture would be unheard of. And not only just the agriculture, but the technology to grow agriculture in arid areas to help do literal tikkun olam and feed the world. I remember when I was back, Hebrew U, sorry, I went for a semester. We were rationing water back in the day, right? Now we have a water surplus, right? And we're exporting water to Jordan. They wanted me to talk a bit about collaboration. So even in the toughest time, these environmental projects that we work on together, we're importing solar energy from Jordan, exporting water through Israeli innovation, and building relations. Because one thing is that climate crosses borders. It's not a thing you have in your own area. It's something we can collaborate. We believe very strongly in what's called climate diplomacy. This is in Dubai at COP. We were also there for Dubai Expo. And there's a real strong commonality in this area, because maybe we might disagree on politics, but this is something we can all solve together. And Israeli innovation, chokhmah, brain power could really solve this issue. So this is my two kids. My son's in their first non-fossil fuel powered car. And the reason why I do this, because again, we have to be thinking not this year, 20 years into the future. And if we really do care about our kids, we all know that we're interested in health, like as I said before, in education, in poverty, but this is the baseline for what we'll leave to our kids, and this has to be part of our investment philosophy. It's sometimes overwhelming, but I look to some great Jewish philosophies, in that even though I can't personally take care of it and fix it, each of us could contribute a little bit. If anybody wants to chat with me afterwards about getting involved, feel free to reach out. Toda rabah, thanks for Tel Aviv University, and good morning.
Wow, this was inspiring. Back to NES, a miracle. Our activities will focus on 5 thematic pillars: biodiversity, environmental economics, One Health, and environmental chemistry, and sustainable cities. Each of these pillars is deeply impacted by climate change, pollution, and other environmental threats, and they also affect each other. In each area, we plan to establish a center of excellence, promoting interdisciplinary research and serving as an incubator for both emerging and prominent scientists through diverse undergraduate and graduate programs and fellowships, a partnership with national and local government, businesses and civil society, international collaborations, and more. We are already in motion, and I'm very happy to report that in the past year, we launched and strengthened several academic programs, including 2 undergraduate double major programs, one in environment and chemistry and one in environment and life sciences, a multidisciplinary undergraduate program for environment, economics, and political sciences. I think this is one of the first in the world. And we also revised 3 master's student track, one in research track, practical track, and international track, and we also have PhD and postdoctoral programs. I think I'm proud and excited to share with you another initiative that we started. We are planning a new massive online course together with the Frontiers Planet Prize. It is an open online course that will be translated in collaboration with the UN to all UN languages. We're still building it, but I'm pleased to present with you a short glance at the MOOC.
One, two, three, four, five.
Currently, air pollution is the number 4 largest damage to human health. The food system on its own produces between 1/4 and 1/3 of all global greenhouse gas emissions. Plant-rich diets is the one that stands out the most in reducing those emissions.
This MOOC is going to be presented in the next ceremony in June in Switzerland, and then in the for the World Economic Forum in Davos, and we're really proud that it is being led by Tel Aviv University in collaboration with Frontiers Planet Prize. And as you've just seen, translating knowledge into action is at the heart of what we do. And to lead this mission of real-world impact, there's no better person than Dr. Netta Lipman, the director and co-founder of the New Environmental School. Netta has years of experience bridging science, policy, and society. Netta, please.
Well, talking after all those amazing researchers and after Jeff, well, talk about challenges. So we heard so many great science and researchers going in Tel Aviv universities in the lab. But what we want to do also in our new school is make an impact, a real life impact in Israel and in the world. So once again, hi. Good morning. My name is Dr. Netta Lipman, and I'm the director of the new school. And what we all know, they say the only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. And as Jeff said before, many of the great ideas started in small labs, and they could have, small or great or the greatest labs, but they all could have ended in a peer-reviewed magazine and getting prizes. But what we want to do is to do the extra mile and to collaborate the science with the government, with the municipality, with the industry, with the civil society, and make a change, a real life change in all the great challenges, other challenges, and taking the mic after Jeff, all the great challenges the environmental has in Israel and in the world. And as you said, think about all the ideas that started in someone's lab, the solar panel, the purifying water, the vertical agriculture. We can think of a lot of great ideas that started somewhere. Science was there, but it needed a little push, a little something to do the impact. And what we're trying to do, we're aiming to do, is to connect everyone together, bringing them all the stakeholders together in one big table. And stakeholders, as you just said, are also an agreement. Noga and myself worked in the government, and we went to the COP27 and helped with the Prosperity Green and Blue Agreement. As mentioned before, Israel is offering water to Jordan in exchange to green energy made in the desert of Jordan by solar panels. And this is a win-win situation. We have the science, but we need the decision makers to take it one step forward and look how international relationship of Israel can work together when we talk about environment. And another great agreement was led by scientists is the climate, the COP in Paris, where the climate change the big agreement was signed, led by scientists. So in general, this is our goal. We're bringing the different stakeholders in the environment ecosystem to work together and apply scientific imagination to real impact. And this is what we're going to do, starting for today. Well, we did start like a couple of months ago, but with your help, we're offering you to join us in making an impact for the better future. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Netta. I think this is a real critical time and an inspiring time. And we invite you all to join us in this challenging and exciting journey. I think that together we can transform the university into a world leader of environmental leadership, one that generates cutting-edge knowledge, drives real-world impact, inspires the next generation, and helps shape a more resilient, just, and livable futures for us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Noga and to all of the speakers. This was a fascinating session, and thank you to our audience once again for being here today. So we'll take a short break before our next very intriguing session featuring Thomas Friedman, internationally renowned author, reporter, and columnist, and newly minted Tel Aviv University honorary doctor. And he will be discussing how Israel should navigate the post-October 7th world. So enjoy your break, and we'll reconvene here shortly.